agree that the legacy of the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim will be a long-lasting positive one. From the arrow to the knee memes of 2012, to being ported to every possible console ever, the game still holds a special place in many of our hearts, including my own. Skyrim in itself isn't full of tons of decisions or branching pathways to choose from, but the playstyle you choose can greatly affect how you experience this world. Whether it's a self-imposed rule such as no fast travel or no swords, or a role-playing rule like killing any wandering guard that you see, Skyrim is full of a variety of different ways to do things, making it very replayable. This show, Alternate Reality, is about playing games in a way that maybe wasn't intended for the general audience. Today, we're going to be looking at two different ways to experience the world of Skyrim, one being a survival mod, and the other skipping the main quest entirely and not becoming a dragonborn. So let's experience this alternate reality together. I was never really one for modding my games. I played most of my games on console until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and by that time I felt like it was too late for me to start. There were so many games I hadn't played yet, and I couldn't justify replaying a game that I had just finished but playing it again with mods, and I didn't want my first experience playing a game to be a modded one. When I finally rebought Skyrim on PC a few years back, I looked at possibly modding it, but I honestly couldn't figure it out. I tried looking up tutorials on how to do it, and I just couldn't understand it and ended up messing it all up. Yes, I'm sure many of you are about to comment on how easy it is to download mods right now, but I never really had a burning desire to do it, so I just shrugged and moved on until Bethesda announced the Skyrim Creation Club. The Skyrim Creation Club officially launched in late 2017 and was basically a way to pay for some higher tier mods. One of the biggest game-changing mods was the survival mod, which was essentially a hardcore mode for the game, just like Fallout and Vegas. In hardcore mode, your character must drink, sleep, and eat regularly, just like one would need to do in real life. There are other things as well, such as not being able to carry as much, ammunition having weight, and healing items and effects all working a bit slower and a little bit different on that. You can't just focus on the main story of the game anymore. Survival takes precedent, making sure you have enough food and clean water and a place to sleep. And to do so could result in an untimely death. Now, I played New Vegas for about an hour to get the footage that you're looking at right now, and I never really felt like the game type made a huge difference that early on. Perhaps later on, you'd have to sleep more, you'd have to eat more, you'd have to drink more, but within the first hour or so, besides the stim packs taking a little longer to heal you, I hardly noticed a difference. Survival mode in Skyrim is very similar. You can be hungry, you can be tired, but you can also be cold. All clothes now have a warmth rating, and since Skyrim is mainly a winter climate, this plays a huge factor. The mod also has other major additions, such as no fast travel, no natural health regeneration, and you can't carry nearly as much. There are also new diseases added, the possibility of getting an affliction, and if you swim in freezing cold water, it could possibly damage you. If you're hungry, your stamina bar will shorten and recharges slower. If you're tired, your magic bar will shorten and can even get to the point where it stops regenerating. And if you stay in cold climates for too long, it'll shorten your health bar. Not only will a mod like this extend the playing time significantly, it will also make the player a bit more cautious. Instead of putting tons of food and eating it all at once when you're low on health, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful about it. The fact that you can't hold as much will definitely cause a problem, as you can't just fast travel to sell things, so money will also be a little bit harder to come by. Now, there are two mods that are kind of like companion mods for survival, that being camping and adventurer's backpack. Camping allows you to create a campsite that you can sleep and cook at, while the backpack allows you to carry a little bit more, and there are various types with certain benefits. However, as they make survival mode significantly easier, I didn't really want to use them. Now, I also mentioned not being a dragonborn. This is something I tried for the first time a few years ago, and I really enjoyed the result. Obviously, every Skyrim character you play is at the last for everyone, but after the tutorial, if you pretty much ignore the main quest, dragons won't appear. Sure, you won't get shouts, but you won't have to worry about dragons rampaging through the mountains and trying to kill you. Now, of course, I just mentioned that we won't be doing the main quest, so we're going to need something to do. If I just wander around aimlessly, I'm going to be playing this forever, and I'm making this video on very limited time. I've chosen to do the Companion's quest line because it's the side quest line that I'm least familiar with. I consider doing all the major side quests, but settled on just one because I think it's enough to get a feel for what I want to talk about. Now, naturally, I would play this game as a sheep because they can eat raw meat without the fear of contracting diseases, meaning they don't have to cook it. But where's the fun in that? Because of my weight limit, I'm really going to want to be strong in conjuration, so I don't have to worry about being weighed down by all my weapons. The only two races that have starting bonus for conjuration is the Breton and the Altmer. I chose to go with the Breton because they have some skill and speech as well, which could also help me down the road while I'm trying to sell things. I also didn't turn off the other mods, so I acquired a bunch of items from the Creation Club, but I sold them right away so I wouldn't have them as an unfair advantage. I did, however, use most of that money to buy food, so I guess I had some advantage. After I joined the Companions, my first assignment was to head off and kill some vampires. However, on the way there, I actually encountered two other vampires who proved to be fairly difficult right off the bat. I didn't have much in terms of healing items, and so I was forced to use what food I had to stay alive in the fight. Also, I'm not sure when, but at some point I got a food poisoning from accidentally eating raw meat, so I assume it was probably here. This put me in a terrible situation as I still had most of my journey ahead of me, and I wasn't quite strong enough to kill a deer or animal to get some meat. Luckily for me, a wolf killed a deer shortly after, and I ran into some hunters whom I bought some food from. I then came upon Roderstead and immediately bought as much food as possible before I left. After coming upon the vampire, I realized that I wasn't nearly strong enough after several attempts, and left to kill some Forsworn to level up. It's here that I realized the difference between being hungry and being full. I kept thinking my game was lagging or really slow, or the game was just slower than I remembered. Then I realized it was my character being hungry. Hunger not only lowers your fatigue, but it also slows down your attacks significantly, and it really makes a huge difference when you're at a low level. It was also at this point that I realized that, having not played Skyrim in quite a few years, maybe I should lower the difficulty so I don't spend the entire game dying, as the video is not titled, Watch Ghostboy Be Mad at Skyrim. That's another video for another day, my friends. It wasn't much later in the quest line that I realized how much the limited weight was going to become a factor. There were many items I wanted to grab and sell, but I had so much damn food, and now that my arrows had weight, I had to be really careful with what I picked up and what I wanted to sell. Part of the Companion's quest line is, of course, the ability to turn into a werewolf, and oh boy, is this going to be nice for traveling far distances. The only downside is I can't pick anything up in that form, nor can I really turn it off at will unless I just stand around and use the wait feature. Another part of the survival mod means that you can only level up after a rest, and this is exactly how it's done in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. For some reason, it just feels different doing it in Skyrim. I don't know if it's because I can't fast travel, and so it's harder to find a bed when you need one, or if it's just because I was so used to being able to level up wherever I wanted, but in Oblivion it felt fine. Here in Skyrim it just feels weird. Now, of course, the mod isn't the only thing we've changed here. We've also completely eliminated shouts and dragons. I will admit that without the shouts, the game feels a little bit tougher. Not having the ability to, say, knock your opponents back and stun them for a bit, especially when it's a large group of them, is definitely very easy to miss. As for dragons being absent, honestly, it makes the exploration feel very similar to that of Oblivion. A lot of just long, peaceful walking, occasionally finding a wild animal or a bandit here and there. I wouldn't say it's definitively a better or worse experience, but it just feels different than what it normally is. You can generally go from one location to another without having to worry about a giant dragon impeding your progress and killing you. Not to mention with this mod, no way would you be able to carry most of those dragon bones. Every time I played casually and had to leave some behind, a small part of me died inside. I will say that because the main point of this video was for me to just complete the companion's quest, I found myself totally unwilling to explore new locations that I saw on my radar. If I passed by a horde of bandits or necromancers, I would clear out the ones I saw, but I wouldn't go inside the cave. If I saw a little hut or something like that, I generally just kept going. I didn't have the option to fast travel, so discovering the location itself means very little to me. If I wanted to go back and check it out later, I would have to walk anyways, and I didn't always have the food or energy to stop by in case it was more than just a small little hut. However, I did stop in almost every little town that I saw to go to the inn and buy food and to sleep. I don't know if I would have necessarily gone to some of these locations without the mod, so perhaps that's a positive to an otherwise negative side note. I did find myself using the carriage services a lot more. I could walk the whole distance, but sometimes it's just worth it to get a ride when you factor in food, cold, and sleep. Generally, as soon as I would show up in a new city, I would be hungry and tired, so the first thing I would do is look for a place to sleep and get warm, rather than using a point that was just close to another point. In that sense, it definitely adds to the realism. In no context would you ever just walk by a main city without stopping in, maybe buying food or selling equipment, or at minimum at least taking a short nap before you went on your way. Of course, traveling by carriage and sleeping in the big cities will cost you some gold. I'm not saying it's going to bankrupt you, but it will add up after. So it's something to be wary of. I suppose you could go for a no-carriage playthrough, but that just seems a little bit too extreme for me.
Meet Shady Rays. Sunglasses made for living hard and looking good. Shady Rays are constructed with the same...
I think this mod and playstyle is best for the adventurous folk who don't necessarily want to play as a chosen one or complete quests, but just explore this world that has so much to find. I think I would have far more enjoyed my experience if I was
escape from reality.
Has anyone else ever noticed how sometimes we have these mysterious hidden rule sets for ourselves when we play a game? They're not necessarily written down or implied that you have to follow them, but sometimes they're in the back of your head and can affect the way that you play the game unconsciously. I'm not talking about Pokemon Nuzlocke or challenge modes either. I'm talking strictly about things in your head that you can't help but do. I guess the loosest example of what I'm talking about is playing through an RPG and always choosing the good options, mostly out of fear of hurting the other characters' feelings. The characters who aren't real, but are rather a bunch of code, animation, and voice acting put into an interactive experience to give you the illusion they're real. It almost feels so odd that I care about what this game thinks of me. If a game character tells me they feel bad, I feel bad. And I have literally no reason to feel that way. As soon as I turn off the game, that character doesn't exist anymore. So why should it really matter? Obviously, a lot of these games are meant to have multiple playthroughs, where you get to go back and try out different options and see how they affect your relationships with other characters. But on a first initial playthrough, where you want to play just genuinely, does anyone really pick the obviously evil options? But despite me saying all this right now, that's actually not what this video is entirely about. Well, this is an example of the role-playing one can do while playing these games. There are actually different invisible limitations I set on myself when playing games where you wouldn't think they exist. The rules I'm talking about are the ones that keep immersion together as closely as they can, even if it means doing something I don't want to do, or avoiding something that could help. To be more specific about my example, I was thinking about sports games. Now, I know a large percentage of you may not be interested in sports, but hear me out. Sports games are RPGs. You are role-playing as a coach, team owner, player, general manager, etc. When you are controlling or playing one character, and I'll use hockey as an example, and there would be a pro mode, that character is you. You build their face, their stats, their backstory if the game allows. There are no rules on how to play them. You just go out and be you.
It's a zone to the right side. Quick shot. Scores! And the rookie gets his first.
But in my brain, as soon as I play a different mode, where I control people who actually exist in the real world, I feel this very weird obligation to stay true to them. For example, two of the greatest hockey players to ever play in my city of Vancouver are the Sedin twins, Henrik and Daniel. Extremely talented players, known for their incredible passing plays, but were also known for not being able. Sure, they got hit a lot, but when it came to making plays and shooting the puck, they chose skill over physicality. If I'm playing an NHL game with the Sedins in it, or someone like them, I don't hit with them. It feels weird. Like I'm betraying who they were as not only players, but as people. Like I'm breaking the immersion in my role-playing experience, making them do things that they wouldn't do as players. Again, there's literally nothing to make me feel bad here. Not only that, the game isn't even trying. And yet, I feel that resistance at the back of my head, just a soft whisper saying, don't do it. It's likely that changing from its players wouldn't be very beneficial anyways because their stats are low in that category because in real life they don't hit. But it's not like the game can reasonably hide those options from you or go through every single player and say, well, he would never get in this situation, so let's take it out and make it not possible. That would be more immersion breaking than anything. So I guess there's a part of me that feels like I have to uphold that part of the immersion. It's my responsibility to give myself the most accurate simulation of these games. Another weird example is jersey numbers. One of my favorite aspects of any sport is the numbers on the back of the jersey, and I can't really explain why, but I find it fascinating to know why certain players wear certain numbers. And trust me, I'm not the only one. People are passionate about jersey numbers. Some wear their number as tributes to another player. Some wear their favorite player's number growing up. And some just stick with the number that they were randomly assigned as a rookie. Some wear their draft year, their birth year, some for the years of major political events from their home countries. So whenever a player gets traded, and for whatever reason they can't wear their old number, they have to select a new one. And I'm always fascinated by what number they'll choose. Alex Goldegowski just signed with the Minnesota Wild this offseason, and in doing so chose to wear number 47 because his number 33 was already taken. When asked, he simply said, well, my other numbers were taken. There's no reason for me to wear this number, I just thought it looked cool. Meanwhile, when Sergei Bobrovsky signed with the Florida Panthers a few years ago, another player, Frank Vatrano, was already wearing 72, which was Bobrovsky's number in Columbus. So, Bobrovsky bought Frank a Rolex watch just to make sure that he could wear that number. a number that he wasn't wearing at the start of his career in Philadelphia, but started wearing in Columbus. When I trade for a player in my games, I will go through their entire jersey history to when they were in junior as a kid just to see what number they would wear. If I see a player wearing a number that I don't think they'd ever wear, the immersion has again been broken, and it takes me right out of the game. Because of my habit of doing this, I can pretty much tell you any number right now. Because it feels like a disservice to have them wear anything else. Some players really don't care, but some care a lot more than you think. Obviously enough to buy a Rolex for someone. And if they were to wear anything else, it would no longer feel like them. It would just feel like a random avatar with a bunch of stats. Another example of controlling real-life people would be the WWE games. Now, admittedly, I haven't played them in a long time, but even as a kid, I couldn't possibly imagine playing as someone like the 400-pound, 7-foot-tall Big Show, and jumping off of ladders or the top rope. The game gives me the option to do these things. Almost always, I prefer not to. I can't explain the feeling, but when it's someone real, there's just this voice in the back of my head that says, you need to do it how they would do it. When I was a kid playing these games, they could also have a very tiny female wrestler body slam the big boys, so accuracy wasn't exactly a priority at this point. And while admittedly I haven't played much of the new games, I am aware that this is still sometimes an issue, and I think it might always be an issue. As much as you want wrestling games to be immersive, it would be so limiting to the point of extreme frustration to play a game that feels more like a scripted match than a game. Like, John Cena only has 5 moves now. He doesn't do anything that he does in the game. For these examples, I've of course used real people. When you've watched hockey or wrestling and you see these names, you generally know how these people go about their business. But what about games where you're playing fictional characters? But it's not an RPG in the sense that you have a blank slate. Whenever I play games where I'm playing as one character who has a defined backstory and out of nowhere, the game changes, I always have this internal struggle. Do I pick how I would pick, or how the character would pick? Obviously, in these situations, my choices are molding and forming the character, but sometimes I already know too much about the character to be free of the burden of what would they do. I think this is why Telltale's The Walking Dead game did so good the first time I played it. I never felt like any choice was completely unreasonable for me to make. At the very beginning, we know he's gone to prison, and right away we get to decide how he feels about it. He's new to us, but at the same time we know enough that we like him, but also not as much that we feel like he's overpowering us as the player. As we get into later seasons and you play as Clementine, you've been with this character for a few games already, and you have a pretty solid foundation for who they are. Sometimes you come across a choice and go, well, obviously Clementine would do this, and that already changes how you're going to approach these decisions. Something else to mention is that the early games are very much spent molding Clementine as a person. And you might feel an obligation to stay the same Clementine that was mentored by Lee. Or perhaps you can just shut off your brain and make choices for yourself, and I envy you if that's the case. A game like Life is Strange also does this very well. The main feature of the first game is that when it comes to making major decisions, you can go back in time and see the immediate outcomes of both before finally picking one. You're given a fairly clean slate over Max, but it's definitely established that she's on the shy and introverted side of life. As a result, the decisions you're being asked to make aren't hang out with 50 people at a party for 40 hours straight versus go home and cry while watching the ending of Lord of the Rings. The choices that you're making, while sometimes small and subtle, with others larger and impacting the game more, both come from a similar mindset.
I'd never let one of photography's future stars avoid handing in her picture.
I didn't have any time. Way too much homework. Do I have to? I just don't think it's that big a deal.
Max, you're a better photographer than alive.
She's shy, anxious, nervous, and non-confrontational. There's no point in these games where I feel like I'm doing something drastic that breaks the established max talk field that I've been getting to know for the past however many hours. The decisions all feel like something she would do, and in the few cases where a choice does feel like something she wouldn't do, the dialogue ties it back in where it still feels like a reasonable max decision.
I am sorry. That's an awesome cashmere coat. Victoria probably played me. I should have played her.
Don't say a word.
Oh, wait. Hold that pose. And no filter needed to flag post this. Maybe I should have done that.
The same could also be said about Chloe in Before the Storm. She's loud and abrasive and doesn't mind getting into an altercation, and the choices presented to you in the game reflect this. There's not a lot of options to just back down from the fight, especially in the smack-talking minigame. It can be very difficult giving your character an established background, but also allowing the player to feel like they're in control and making the decisions that they want to make without the burden of the character's thoughts getting in the way. Now, you could also argue that perhaps this is actually too limiting, as a loud, abrasive, and outgoing character, and that's something that really isn't an option. Although then that would make the game very open-ended and account for way too many possibilities and perhaps get away from the story the developers were trying to tell altogether. They limit it, but in a good way. It wouldn't be the max that they needed for the story to work. But I can also safely say at no point in my original playthrough that I think, wow, I really wish I had this option. So I commend them for doing it in such a way where you still feel like you're playing a part and forming Max's personality the mirror version of it. Of course, this is my personal experience. I'm sure someone out there was frustrated at some decision they had to make.
Tell me the story of you guys lining up weeks before the race. I didn't know about that.
This could all be in my head. Perhaps when the majority of people play games, no one cares about what the character would do, and they just focus on what they would do. But I refuse to believe that I'm the only one who goes through these tiny little conflicts. Sometimes I will literally play through a game twice because there's one way I want to do it, and I will go back and pick the options I think the character would have made. And then sometimes even a third time if there's more options I still didn't see. As I mentioned, a lot of these games that are based on decision making are often intended for people to go back and have multiple playthroughs. But what I'm really talking about here is that first playthrough. How do you decide? Is it you or the character? Another situation that was brought to my attention recently was a game Dishonored. When playing as Corvo, you have many decisions to make, but also you don't. Corvo has his own thoughts, his own goals. The player can't change them, but they
So yes, some very interesting things happening with Cyberpunk today. Check out the headline right here. Cyberpunk
Yes.
looks to embrace net. question. Any next-gen only features appear to be coming to Night City yet? Someone recently discovered a hidden feature in update 1.6 that was actually toggled off by CD Red. This is really, really cool, because we also know that the expansion pack is going to be next-gen only, so it looks like we're going to be getting more and more next-gen features in the future. Plus, check out this right here. CD Projekt Red prepares to leave Cyberpunk with the players. The groundwork is being laid for content beyond the expansion. CD Projekt Red has given us an official update about mod and red mod. This is really cool, and it shows that yes, they are thinking about the future beyond the expansion. Also, it's a Cyberpunk problem. Will the expansion finally fix this issue? Street cred needs to make sense. It needs to matter. Will Anthem Liberty make it make sense? Also, we have Cyberpunk's most underpowered feature. Why is this so ignored? I want to talk about it, and I hope that CD Projekt Red does something with this feature when it comes to the expansion big time. Then, stop pretending Cyberpunk was always perfect. It never was, and it still needs work. Yikes. Shots fired right there. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think of this one. And this is a curious, interesting topic. Why are terrorists in the Cyberpunk universe? There's actually a reason for this. Believe it or not, I'm going to explain that in a moment. But we also have to talk about this one right here. The flamingos seem to be an ongoing theme. They are literally everywhere. And there's probably like killer flamingos out there in night. But I always love the little teases about all the lore in Night City and Cyberpunk. But let's get into some official news from the official Cyberpunk Twitter. So let's do this right now, shall we? So check it out right here. There's 1 million active players each day for 4 weeks in a row. Night City sure is thriving. Your happiness and continued support leave us speechless. And the thank you king. And look at his face right there. Jackie looking absolutely amazed by this news. That is absolutely incredible. What's going on with the numbers today for Cyberpunk 2077? Now, it is roughly around midnight right now when I'm actually filming this video. So we have 30,000 people so speak about 60,000 players. So it's definitely going downward. It's very slow trend downward. It's absolutely incredible that these numbers are still sustaining themselves at this level. It just goes to show what everyone is to the Cyberpunk community. I love it, and let's go. Here to see what happens though with Anthem Liberty. Will Anthem Liberty have the effect that Edgerunners had? We'll have to wait and see. Also, if you are curious about what CD Projekt Red had to say about the future of Cyberpunk beyond the expansion, we released this right here. It's a picture set for the Cyberpunk modding with Moretz, one of the Red Mod developers. In the second episode of our Red Mod tutorial, we'll answer some of your questions from the first episode and can teach you how to create a new script mod step by step. So this is so important that CD Projekt Red leaves tons of tutorials for the modding community so that they can actually create tons of content for us after this expansion. So I hope they have like 50 tutorials for the modding teams out there that really, really want to go crazy with Night City, because yeah, it's definitely tough to learn the modding scene for the Red Engine for sure. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about what was recently discovered in update 1.6. This is a feature that was actually toggled off for some weird reason, hidden away by CD Projekt Red. But guess what? A mod actually brought this feature to the forefront, and you can actually try it for yourself. Check it out right here. CDPR's astonishing crowd density.
Hey,
and
watch
this
it.
was actually uploaded by Duality, I believe it is, or Duality. And they did a great job finding this. Here's the description right here. And I'll show you what you can actually do with this, because yes, it really does bring crowds to life in Night City. And it seems to be, yes, a very next-gen only feature. The question is, will this be coming to consoles? It's interesting that it was actually toggled off high CD product rather than kind of hitting away, and the only way you can bring it forward is through this mod. It doesn't seem to cause any performance issues from what I'm seeing. It just makes it sound more, I guess you would say, interactive. I definitely noticed the numbers increase, but also what's cool, you see more people putting pages and interacting in that way, and I hope it keeps pushing the crowd interactivity more and more in the future for Cyberpunk 2077. Alright, so let's keep going. This is a description of the mod. You can see it says, these crowd and traffic settings were added originally by CD Projekt Red into game files in 1.6 and accidentally found by me. For some reason, CD Projekt Red forgot to add it into gameplay settings selector, so I made that, but then checked, hit more cards, put on high, haven't found any performance drop, incompatible with free 1.6 crowd density mod. You have been warned, it's just because these mods wasn't there. So, yeah, it's very, very cool to see again how you can adjust the crowds to astonishing levels. Of course, there's right now 3 different pickers you can choose from, low, medium, and then high, but this pushes it to astonishing, and it seems to also affect the traffic. So I'm here to see what Phantom Liberty does to the crowd interaction. Perhaps this will also be included in update 1.7. Honestly, that's what I would expect them to be. Hey, now you can adjust the crowd to astonishing levels if you want to with update 1.7. I guess they're just ready or something to add this in update 1.6 for some reason. I'm not too sure why. But anyway, let's keep going and talk about this one right here, how street cred needs to be desperately improved in Cyberpunk. Let's check it out. It says this right here, it comes from Weaponized Autism 69. It says, I feel like our street cred should be a defining factor in the game's main story. The requirement of 20 to 25 street cred before we can do the heist will be great with world building and game familiarity. Well, you make sense that you want to be recognized for street cred, whether or not someone absolutely loves you or they
Wood trader is ever an ornament, solid
but I also
gold.
want to say
You
be
found it.
very, very
I'm gonna
careful
put
what
this
you look
back where
for
it
when it
belongs. I'll
comes to
never
doing
forget
something
this.
like this. And I'll
You've done a
explain
great
in
thing
just
for
a
me
moment.
and my
Let's get to
sister.
the replies here. We have
Thank
this
you
one
so
right
much.
here from
Take a
Spider
look.
1132 who says, "Man, I got the 50 street cred before the heist. Then I walked up Emery with Jackie, and he's still like, who might you clowns be? I guess street cred doesn't mean crown in the afterlife." And you know what? I really, really hope that Phantom Liberty taps into street cred a little bit more, and they make it matter. You know how people react to you, how actions can disapprove of what you're doing, and another factor can absolutely love and adore you for, you know, completing a heist or something like that. That would be really, really cool to make friends and enemies based on some things that you do within the world. Now, we have a very interesting, in-depth reply here, and this is what I immediately thought of. I thought of things like you have the Assassin's Creed franchise have recently completed progress. When you just want to move on to the story quest, you have to do a bunch of side activities first, and then, hey, now you can finally go on the main story mission after doing a lot of filler stuff and things like that. That's something you have to be extremely careful about with games. Check it out right here. It comes from Critical Switch, who says this: creating additional requirements to be able to start missions wouldn't add anything, and it's something I absolutely despise and never get things that have something similar. Make the whole game feel shallow. It's like, hey, we need to do this ASAP, but you gotta work on your PR before we allow you to help us with it. So go shoot some random enemies on the corner or win a street race.
It means so much to us to have the
Now, I do want
clawback.
to stop there just for a moment and say one thing that is compelling about Cyberpunk, concerning kind of like requirements for certain missions, like heist missions and stuff like that, is that Cyberpunk has actually very, very interesting side quests and side storylines. So that's a little bit of a wrinkle here into adding requirements, of course. However, let's keep going here. Because never mind that the whole story is written around the fact that these quests went too low at the beginning.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
Shit, this is the one that I used to fight for, bro.
Okay, is this guy a trainer? He is not. Is there a trainer? Ooh, there's a...
Oh, fuck! I didn't think it was doing it yet. We got so close. But now we know, like, this dude is slow enough that we can just circle around the circle. Lock on. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit, the wing blast. Oh, fuck me. I thought it was just a regular shield slam. Oh, fuck, the lock-on blast. Oh, my gosh. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. The fucking Wind Lord blast. Fuck off.
I'll raise a cup to your grave.
Oh, shit. Oh, the lock-on that shit.
Guess it's all clear now.
Oh, fuck.
Stupid dog.
There we go. We're gonna drink when he's down, though. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, me.
I thought I was a goner just now. Thanks for the help. And if you need any supplies, I have a few to sell.
Alright, here we go. Let's see.
Yes?
Good. Oh, shit. Pretty good. Could have been better. Uh-oh. Holy shit, are we about to do it? Oh, satisfaction. Did it fair and square. Dragon community. I don't know what it does. Give me those fucking runes. What do we got here? Ugh. Dragon wing runes. Seems foul. Alright. We did it. Let's read these items that we got as a reward. Okay. Coat's armament granting special dragon attacks. What? Okay, so this is like a temporary weapon buff. Solidified grease made from a mixture of gravel stones. Craftable item. Oh. Coat's armament granting anti-dragon effects. Okay, anti-dragon effects. Sure. When the dragons were born from their ancient kin, they lost their stone skin, which can now be used to cause them mortal harm. Okay. Golden rune, we found some of these as well. Consumers, yeah, instigate runes. Grace that dwells within the inhabitants and the lands between. The lingering trace of gold, used to gain runes. Even now, runes are still imbued with the power of life itself. Do you see the herb tree towering over? Oh. Poison bone dart. When did I get these? Animal bone sharpened into a knife for throwing with a poisonless craftable item. Throw at enemies to inflict damage and build up poison. Throw at enemies to inflict damage and build up poison.
Staying safe, I hope.
I
get them
So what
fresh
was
from
the
the
other
farms daily, Nazim.
crafting materials,
If
row
you
of
were
fruit?
getting it from my farm,
Berry
it'd be
like
twice
red
as
fruits that
fresh.
grow in shrubs, material used for crafting, easily found everywhere in the lands between. It has a wide variety of uses. Okay.
Take a good look around.
Gray
I'm sure you'll
glove.
find what you're looking
Strengthen
for.
ashes to
If not,
plus
let me know.
1.
I
Smithing?
might. You
Huh.
look rather pale.
White
I
flower
think I can
blooms
teach
in
you a thing or
the
two.
Each soundless bell used to summon spirits. Strengthens ashes to plus 1. The
Why?
art of
Because
strengthening
I'm a proud
ashes is
citizen of
known
the
as
Empire?
smithing.
Because the
New
Stormcloaks only
spiritual
want Nords in Skyrim. The Stormcloaks can rot in oblivion
Here's
for
the
all I
seal.
care. I've lived in this city for 20 years. 20!
Whoa. Oh, this is a
Come back anytime.
faith/arcane item. Okay, it scales better with arcane. Dragon Communion Seal. Formless Drake Blood Seal with a Dragon Communion crest. Enhances Dragon Communion incantations. The sacrificial devouring of the heart gives power. Indeed, Dragon Communion is too primal in nature for the term incantation to be appropriate. This seal scales incantations with one's arcane attribute. Oh, so it makes it to where aren't incantations normally faith-based? So this makes them go off of arcane then. No skill. The armament has no skill. The armament, on the other hand, has a skill. That skill will be used instead. But we don't fuck around with that. We don't even meet the attributes required there. 10 and 10 for faith and arc. Alright. Still, I like that we did that. What a good warm-up for the game, I think, right? Good way to get us situated. I don't think we'll be able to kill the boss, the actual, like, big fucked up tree boss. Like, literally do 2-shot. I think that's a situation where we come back later. And I'll fight a dude who 3 shots me, but 2 shots? I don't know about that. Not when you got that much shot. Not when we're literally haven't gotten a single level yet. Let's see. Do we have like a homeward bone in this fucking game? Sends another or oneself. Oh. We will lose 818 units. Which is not ideal. Right? Okay. Oh no, this actually, okay. Item for online play can be used from the multiplayer menu. There's a host of fingers to select a summoned player and send them back to their world. Use when you have been summoned to another player's world to return to your own world. This phantom blade severs the link formed by a furrowed finger. The maidens scorn those who abuse its use. Okay. Fingers. They got these fingers, huh? Sure. I wonder if those like ones are made from fingernails. Yeah, I still can't see the other folks who have died. It's not great, but I guess we don't need it. Try trap. Yeah, but what if you don't? What if you go fucking all the way? Right? I'm sure we'll fight dudes like that again in the future. It's like good practice. Oh shit. Alright. Let's see. Where can we go for this? Oh wait. We have an opportunity here. Good. Alright. This. And we've got one here. So somewhere further we can like hide out at. Yeah, there is. Shit, we're probably gonna get fucked up here, huh? Yeah, we'll have to make use of its like double rotation. Because it has to pause a few times there to turn. Huh. It went back around. Okay. We'll wait for it here. As if these 818 rings are even worth it. Uh-oh. That's not good. Okay, there we go. Good. toss up all this. Lovely. Was that something right there? What's all that? Hey, what is all that? Huh. Oh, shit! It's a nightmare man. It's a little imp lord. Ooh, he's bleeding me, too. Oh, fuck. There you go. Eat a butt. I'm out of juice. Holy shit. Another secret area upon a secret area. I'll watch it throw shit at me. Oh, fuck. Should be able to burn it. There we go. Now, is there another secret down there? It fucking looks like it, doesn't it? Or is that like a simple area that we're normally accustomed to? We're going in deeper.
Take a look.
Let's have our shield up because we're not super deep in there. This is just bonus extra exploring. Oh, shit! Okay.
Good day.
Alright. Okay, fine. Well, you know what? I feel satisfaction from having wiped out that other area. Alright. Well, when next we come back, should we go down there and look through that stuff again? Where those... I'm assuming imps, right? They look just like these things. We'll go down there and check out that imp zone a little bit more. Maybe there's a way to get by the fire safely. We'll find out. We killed that horrible motherfucker and got a cool item that is ultimately useless to us. But hey, you know what? That's how it goes. We enjoyed our time spent. Until next time, please take care of each other.
Here's for all else, and I'll be happy to serve you.
Get ready for the next era of connectivity with MediaTek Biologic Wi-Fi 7 flash.
You'll find tonic.
When they had last left the Tarnished, they completed the tutorial, as performed by some ghost sitting in a chair above a pit. And then they proceeded to descend into some secret bonus imp statue area of fun. But it wasn't fun at all, because there was a great and giant pool of death, as well as a horrible Killdozer 500 on a massive rampage.
I don't have
and
formal
then, at
training
the
in
end
restoration
of
school,
clearing
but
that gauntlet,
within
did they
these
finally
walls,
discover
I have all that I
a really
need to.
gross
If I had a scepter
tree
for every case of
worm
rock joint or
snake
wick bane
thing,
I've cured since I
and
opened
it
this
killed
shop,
the shit out of
I'd be a
them.
rich
So they
woman
went
indeed.
the other way and got annihilated by some mystical fire-breathing pokey-doke dude, but eventually managed to destroy them. However, there was yet one more path down that secret ancient
You'll find
wherever
tonics,
way,
salves,
and it was time
poultices,
to
potions on my
uncover
shelves.
exactly what
Browse
was
to your
there.
heart.
This is Elden Ring, the command. Let's do it. Let's head on down there, huh? Let's go take a peek. Oh, look at all these neat things. Try running, yeah. I agree. Okay, let's do it.
Nothing of our struggles, our suffering.
And what might you be looking at?
And what of my
So to
son?
get to where we want to be,
What of Thorin?
what we need to do is navigate beyond all this nightmare, and then do a drop down at the little land bridge or whatever. I guess it's not even a land bridge, it's just some sort of concrete bridge. Okay.
Mister,
And then
could
do we
you
just
spare a
drop down
coin?
from any side, or is this a specific
Just
side?
one
I think we
gold,
should have time to
please.
think.
Oh, thank you. Fine. Bless your kind heart.
Okay, yeah, just any of these sides we can fall right off of. Beautiful. Okay. Also need to watch out for the lethal lava. There we go. Okay. So where does the nasty shit come from? Was this... Try rolling. Okay. And there is that passage in there, but I think that goes somewhere else. Good luck, oh good luck. Okay. Great. A lot of death. Or is it not yet that we've reached the flame blast area? Oh, maybe it's down here. Oh yeah, look, we've got our little shit down here. Oh look, there's a bunch of messages here. Seek right, be wary of enemy. Okay, thank you, friend.
You see?
Time for bow.
The terminology is
Ain't
clearly first era or even earlier. I'm
Try bow.
convinced this is a
Ain't got
copy of
one.
a much older text.
Alright.
Perhaps.
Sure. See, this is lending more credence to the idea that maybe we should not be here yet. Well, I can see the passage on the right that fellow tarnished do speak of. Should we run for it? We'll go over there, but be wary of enemies. Okay. Fuck. Oh, you little fucker! No! Oh my gosh! I wasn't sure if we should try and power through him. Did you see? I hit my sword up against the unit there. Okay. There is not much time to do the running. It's got to be said. Okay. All right. We can make it though, I think. There we are. And did you notice, however, we managed to survive the first hit. I don't know how often the hits hit on the flame. Alright. Yeah, if it weren't so confined that we would have been able to destroy... Ooh, shit. Destroy the little man.
Just after.
Okay. Fringe folk heroes grave.
Dragon War. If so, I could use this to cross-reference the names with other later texts.
Good.
Back again.
I'm glad you're making progress. My employers are anxious.
Not you in there. Brace for impact. Oh god, I hope I'm not in the murder zone.
Oh, have no fear.
Got you. Lovely. We'll wait for it to loop again.
The Jarl himself has finally taken an interest. So the Dragonstone of Bleak Falls Barrow. Seems you are a cut above the usual brutes the Jarl sends my way.
And then we should be able to just walk off the edge. But maybe we should walk
your
like
job ends
perpendicular
and
to
mine
this.
begins. The work of the
just in
mind,
case we like
sadly undervalued in
Skyrim. Right off the fucking side.
My associate here would be pleased to see your name.
Oh, you can butt
She
stab
discovered
these
its
things.
location by means she has so far declined to share with me.
Bleak Falls Barrow and got that? Nice work. Just send me a copy when you've deciphered it.
Oh.
Challenge something.
You should come too.
Challenge
A
accepted.
dragon. How exciting. Where was it seen?
Affordable online
What was it
education
doing?
for driven working
I'd
adults.
take this a bit
Apply
more
now at
seriously if I were you.
wizardglobal.edu.
If you decide to attack lifeline, I don't know if we can stop it.
And in a
Let's go.
stealthy, assassin way. It would have been a really interesting dynamic shift where these rough and tumble Vikings
have to go against everything they've been trained to do. It would have been fascinating and really interesting. And I know it would be because they did this in Ghost of Tsushima, where a man was raised in the way of the samurai and then is forced to go with the ways to bastardize it of the ninja. Go stealthily instead of bombastically, and it caused moments of serious reflection, questioning whether or not this was right or even noble and honorable, and it caused a crisis of self in many ways. That would have been cool to see with Valhalla, but we never get it. There's some dialogue at the beginning of this game that mentions the possibility of Valhalla going in this direction when you first meet Valhalla, but it's never mentioned again. Seriously, it's like they just forgot what they were doing, or that was one of their goals. They just never touch on it again, but the point is
Don't fail. There's no time to stand on ceremony, my friend. I need your help again. I want you to go with Irileth and help her fight this dragon. You survived Helgen, so you have more experience with dragons than anyone else here. But I haven't forgotten the service you did for me in retrieving the dragon stone for Farengar. As a token of my esteem, I have instructed Avenici that you are now permitted to purchase property in the city. And please, accept this gift from my personal army.
Systems they already had, and I would have
much like to see this.
Can't afford to
severely cut down and simplified that they bear no resemblance to the original counterparts that we discussed in Origins and Odyssey, or they are completely missing. Furthermore, even smaller items that have a huge impact on the quality of life of a game like this, such as the dynamic cinematic camera placement in quests, is largely gone. I would say that roughly 90% of the dialogue interactions you have in the world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla don't have scripted camera movements or even dynamic ones. And again, this is something we saw in Odyssey. We've seen it in The Witcher 3 from 2015, and even Fallout 4 from 2015. And I know it makes us all realize we're really old, but those games are 6 years old as of the time of this recording. 6 years old. That's an entire console generation. They had it figured out back in 2015. Odyssey had it figured out in 2018. And Valhalla
Thinking of settling in?
There's nothing.
There's a house for
they
sale.
don't even have
Freezeholm.
a modicum of
talk
what
to
they
the
had
steward
in the
up in the
last
keep
game. It is a huge step backwards for seemingly no reason at all. It's seriously bizarre to see it so much worse here than it was just in the last release that they put out. I have a few theories as to why it's like this and why this might have happened, but again, we'll get to that later. It's just time and time again, Valhalla has the chance to do something unique, and instead of bettering the system from the last game, they don't even have it. They just dump it and then pretend as though the absence of that feature is a feature in and of itself. But all of that said, I think right now the game is probably worth the current sales price. Something around $20 to $40 sounds fair. And the caveat to that is that you need to know what you're getting yourself into. The amount of content, the quantity of content that you have written is insane and ridiculous. There's well over 100 hours worth of stuff to do in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but you need to understand that the overwhelming majority of players get burnt out within the first 25 or so hours. So if you're willing to spend 20, 40 bucks to have a Viking fantasy for around 25 hours, Valhalla could be perfect for you. Just don't expect to get the 100-hour epic that Ubisoft was pitching, because with 100 hours, it's pretty far from epic. But now we're going to get into the spoilery section of the video, where we're just going to talk openly about the entire thing, beginning to end, all of the side content, the main story, the Isu storyline, everything. So if you have any intention of playing Valhalla, or you care about those storylines and want to experience them for yourself, hold off, pause the video. It'll be here when you get back. It will also be on all of your favorite podcast hosting sites, such as Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud for download if you would like to take it on the go that way, or Spotify. You can listen to these on the go, just hop on Spotify, look up my name, Luke Stevens, and you'll see all of the critiques I've ever done listed there. So you can listen to them on the go if you like. And also, there's no ads if you do that. So that might be better. if you care about that sort of thing. But first, real quick, I want to say a special thank you to all of these patrons that make these videos possible. I don't think people realize that to get these videos out at the pace that I put these out, about one a month of videos of this length, I have to work with an editor that costs hundreds of dollars for every single video that we put out, not to mention the time that I put into recording all of this footage, writing the script, recording it, doing my portion of the editing. It's a lot of work, and it can be pretty expensive, and it would not be justifiable at all without people like all of these fine boys and girls over on the Patreon. So if you want to contribute to this, it's only $1, and it actually helps get these videos out at a quicker pace, and it helps support me. My first child is on the way here by the time you're seeing this, probably in a week or two, might have already come. That is kind of crazy to think about, but, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. End of August, early September is when he's due to come, so, yeah. So, if you want to support the channel for what we do, these meaningful, intense discussions with these videos. You want to see these videos more frequently and you want to see them before everybody else, head over to Patreon. Only $1 to get access to means the world, and yeah, that's the end of my pleading. Special shout out to INRG for his overwhelmingly generous contributions. He's been a patron for a long time and has always been at the higher tiers, just making this. Thank you, Einar. You're awesome. I give you a shout out. Thank you. Really. And the last thing to do before we get into all of this is I wanted to just share with you a little side project I've been working on. Of course, I'm over on Twitch. We live stream all these games and working on the critiques. I dealt with a couple DMCA bullcrap things and claims. It was a nightmare. Beside the point. The point is, I worked with a few musicians to actually create background music for these YouTube videos, the background music you've been hearing in this video up to now, and for those live streams. I own it free and clear, and I created that music specifically for the purpose of background within YouTube and Twitch gameplay. It's actually fairly complicated to get it just right, but we've actually nailed it down. And I was sitting on all of these tracks, just hoarding them, until one day I realized, you know what, I should share these. It doesn't matter if I have them or I'm the only one using them, I should share these. I created Rhapsody Stream. Rhapsody Stream is a free-to-use, royalty-free, DMCA-free music platform. We have 2 different albums out right now, 6 hours worth of music. It's completely free to use. You can stream it right off Apple Music or Spotify, even Tidal, or you can download the tracks using your YouTube videos through the SoundCloud link on the website. We even have a portal on the website, absolutely.com, where you can request tracks to be made if you're looking for some sort of background music specifically for a given video, or maybe a theme song for your YouTube channel or Twitch stream. You just put in the request, and me and my musicians will actually create the song for you for free. RhapsodyStream.com. It's my own thing, so I guess I'm the sponsor, but whatever. Enjoy it. Let's get into the video. Here we go. Now, the first thing I feel I should address is probably the thing that's going to be painted on the screen for the rest of this video most clearly, and that is that I primarily played with male Ivor. You do have the choice between male or female, and you can swap back and forth if you like. I actually started with female Ivor and switched after about 5 or so hours just to try out the male voice actor, but I really, honestly, never went back. Nothing against her personally, but the female voice actor's performance was just too brooding. It was a bit too gravelly. I think she was trying to put forward a rough and tumble Viking, but instead it just often sounded like a chain-smoking gas station attendant.
Coward! You let an innocent die in your place.
Male Ivor was a lot more varied from scene to scene, and I found him much more representative of what I thought Ivor was or should be like. And no, I'm not just saying this to be sexist or something. I thought Cassandra was miles better than Alexios in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm just not personally impressed with female Ivor. And I even have a statue of her on the bow of a boat. Yeah. There's only so many conversations where I can listen to somebody go, ooh, like, it hurts my own throat hearing it. So, at the very least, male Ivor, he was kind of soft-spoken, and it was very grounded but confident. It just worked. You know, it just worked. And we're moving on. I just wanted to say there's a reason for that. I did try both. I just liked one more than the other. Personal choice, I admit, moving on. Now, probably the most important element of a video game is the gameplay loop. Yes, there are narrative titles, there are walking simulators, but at their core, they still have a gameplay loop. And if we're talking about a game, the gameplay is important. Valhalla's gameplay loop is very familiar to the last couple of Assassin's Creed titles. You explore, you find a quest or some sort of event to engage with, you gain XP to level up after completing that quest, and then you repeat. Along with that XP, you're also collecting different items. Those items could also be rewards paired with experience points, and different weapon sets, and armor sets, and crafting materials, and in-game currency, all could be paired with experience points as you level up and complete these quests to help you gain footing within the world. It's something we see in pretty much every single open-world RPG game, especially one that really focuses on exploration above and beyond anything else, so it's nothing new, and there's nothing inherently wrong with it. Now, in the last game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, leveling up gave you certain skills and abilities, but most of the player's power level came from their gear. And I really liked this. It actually encouraged exploration, and crafting itself within that game fed into this as well, with different enchantments and things that you could do to the weapons to improve them. And this is actually why I think Breath of the Wild's weapon durability system isn't actually that bad. People bashed on it, found it inconvenient, and that was kind of the point. When your weapons broke down, it forced you to go out into the world, explore, and find new ones to replace the broken ones with. It's a very simple concept, but it's one that worked fantastically well to encourage that exploration loop in Breath of the Wild. In Odyssey, you were encouraged to explore the world and find new weapons to replace the old ones, not because the old ones broke, but because if you wanted to explore new areas, you were going to encounter more difficult opponents and more difficult enemies and bosses and quests. So the only way you can keep up with them is if you leveled up your gear by finding new gear. And the only way you found new gear was by exploring. Make sense? It also worked out really well because if you, for instance, mained a large axe and found a really high-level sword, you'd be encouraged to try that new weapon because it was so much better than the current main weapon that you're using. So even though normally you wouldn't have gone out and tried and experimented in terms of gameplay and different combat abilities, now, because the gear is encouraging you to try that in order to go to higher level areas, you're trying something you wouldn't have tried otherwise. In the same way that Breath of the Wild, if you had just mained the Master's Sword, now, because the weapons and their durability caused you to try new things, you're experimenting with all of the different elements and systems that the designers have created. Yeah, all of this is just gone in Valhalla. It's just gone. They swapped this gear-based leveling system for this travesty of a skill tree. There's still gear and runes, and some armor and weapon sets are certainly better than others and have effects such as poisoning or fire or certain durability against different types of opponents. But it's just nowhere near what it was in Odyssey. It's significantly walked back, and